It has become evident that we are witnessing the single greatest conspiracy theory in the history of mankind. That someone has covered up our history, fabricated our reality, lied about this place we live on, and hidden the greatest event in world history, the 1,000-year reign of Jesus Christ.
Welcome, my friends. This is Dan Collier from the Sons of Light as we battle against the forces of darkness. Today, we're going to do a reading from the book Reason to Believe, and we're going to cover some names you should be aware of in protecting yourself from the agencies working to deceive you and to take over the world. And I assure you, if you do not know these terms, you will fall under the spell they are putting out through mainstream media and to deceive you in the ideas you follow through your church and through the organizations that seem like they're working on your side. So let's begin today, and I hope you are excited about learning this information because it is definitely something that the world needs to know. And after you have viewed this, I encourage you to share this information with friends or family who believe they really know what's going on, and you have been trying to reach them and they are not listening, especially, dare I say, Christian know-it-alls. All right, so we will begin. O pleasure, mad kingdom, living at ease, bragging as the greatest in the world. Listen to the sentence of my court upon your sins. You say, I alone am God. I never will be a widow. I'll never lose my children. Well, those two things shall come upon you in one moment, in full measure, in one day. Widowhood and the loss of your children, despite all of your witchcraft and magic. You felt secure in all of your wickedness. No one sees me, you said. Your wisdom and knowledge have caused you to turn away from me and claim that you yourself are Jehovah. This is why disaster shall fall upon you, and suddenly, so suddenly that you won't know where it comes from, and there will be no atonement then to cleanse away your sins. The following are names you need to be familiar with. So I'm going to read from you from the book Reason to Believe now. The first one is United Nations, UN. It was formed after World War II to unite the nations and in reality bring about world government under the rule of one entity. Can we guess who that entity might be? The second is called Lucis Trust, and this is where everything gets real for those who believe they trust these systems and these agencies that get on world news and are reported. The following are bits and pieces of things they do not reveal to you. Lucis Trust, formerly called Satan Trust. Wow, who would call their entity, their corporation, Satan Trust? It was a publishing company that published most of the UN's material. Stop right there. Satan Trust, then called Lucis Trust, published most of the UN's material. Interesting. Founded by Satanist Alice Bailey. At one time, its address was 666 United Nations Plaza. No, that's not a joke. It's a member of the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations under a covert program called World Goodwill. Haven't we heard so many of these names they use as spellcast? Because who would be against world goodwill? How dare you? The third, National Security Agency, NSA, is the world's largest and most covert spy network, located in the United States. Michael Aquino was the head of the NSA. Who was Michael Aquino? He was a founder of the Church of Set, or the Church of Satan. This is not a joke. He was also second in charge of the original Church of Satan under Anton LaVey. After they had a falling out, he started his own organization, the Church of Set, and was the head of the National Security Agency. Why in the world would they do anything unlawful, such as spying on U.S. citizens or violating constitutional rights? No one in the government would do this, would they? Number 4, New World Order. Oh boy, have we heard this term so much. It is a term used to describe the efforts of the United Nations and Satan's followers who desire to bring about one world government, as seen printed on the back of the talisman we call dollar bills or our monetary notes. These notes were produced later in time, and they have quite a sequence of hidden codes that we carry around in our pocket. And in witchcraft, they call that talisman. A Mason or Masonic order. This is a fraternal order of men founded by the Knights Templar after fleeing persecution of the Catholic Church. Maybe that's true and maybe it's not. Who knows after the rewriting of history? As described by Albert Pike, who was a Confederate general, author of Morals and Dogma, one of the most revered Masons in history, at the 33 degree level, in this book he writes, and higher Masons pledge allegiance to Satan. Now, they may not realize they do this, and I do believe that some Masons at the 33 degree level are not what you call tapped. They're not generational or family descendants who reach these levels, and they may not be tapped into the internal order, as there are degrees you can enter into past this. But it still makes you an unwitting and unknowing servant of not the God of the Bible, whether you believe it or not, whether you are a pastor of a church or not. You have pledged with blood oaths to the death to an entity, not God, because God said, do not swear oaths. Number 6, a Jesuit. Now, some have called these assassin priests of the Catholic Church, as uncovered by the discovery of the Jesuit oath. And if you haven't ever read it, they say it's fake. I don't believe so, as even Abraham Lincoln wrote about the fact that you never escape these people once they decide to assassinate you. The mission is to destroy the Jews and the Protestant church and take over the world. But much information has been uncovered that it is possible that the Jesuits are actually run by Zionist Jews. Isn't that very interesting? But it sure would match the agenda that seems to be taking place. Number 7, talisman, a satanically charged object believed to have magical powers, as seen on the $1, $5 through $100 bills in the United States. Images hidden on the back of the $5 through $100 bills show the Twin Towers from 9/11 being destroyed in the exact sequence that they fell. Isn't that extremely bizarre? Who could create these illustrations by folding these monies in origami fashions to show exact falling of the Twin Towers on 9/11? They had to be pre-planned, yes. This is very interesting, and hire witchcraft in order to create these artistic objects. Number 8, Bilderbergers. The world's top leaders, including kings, priests, media, and the world's wealthiest elite, who secretly meet and plan world events, all without democratic or national representation from their respective countries. So, the media does not cover the meetings, as the owners of the major media organizations are present at the events. Google the names, because this is a treasonous act. You are not allowed as a representative from the US to attend secret meetings and make decisions on behalf of your country without anyone knowing about it from the people you are supposed to be elected by. Number 9, the term Antichrist, and this is the false Christ who the United Nations wishes to put in power. It is the same entity we believe that Orthodox Jews are pushing so very hard for powers and elected officials in the United States to help foster the arrival of. Isn't that interesting? I bet you never knew how much pressure was put on our governing bodies in the United States to help foster in an individual who Christians call Antichrist. That's very interesting indeed. I think Christians need to think about that quite a bit. Luciferian. Many people have been told this is not something to worry about. The Luciferian worshipers and followers of Satan, they are Satanists who disguise their intentions by hiding these intentions for the world under a parody of goodwill. All their organizations and print media publications mentions efforts of goodwill, human rights, or environmental efforts. Yes, global warming. Now you get it, right? Secretly, they create the suffering and then offer solutions that will move men to enslavement in the New World Order. Included in this group are some of the world's most powerful and influential people. Eugenics. The belief that unfit, overpopulated, racially impure, diseased, and old should be systematically destroyed. It was the basis for what we call death camps. Eugenics started as a program in the United States under the name the Birth Control League. I want you to think about that very carefully. It's now known as Planned Parenthood. The eugenicists believe that nearly 85% of the world's population needs to be eliminated. This was seen on the Georgia Guidestones that were mysteriously destroyed by what they call natural event. But as we witness, only a weapon could destroy the Georgia Guidestones as it was. This is the basis for the false environmental movement sweeping the world. China has implemented a one-child policy under penalty of fines and imprisonment. This effort was pushed by initiatives of Planned Parenthood. Think about that and why it was really formed, what the true purpose of it all was. Number 12, Kabbalah, or some spell it differently with a C or a K. And it is a book containing the Mystery Babylon religion, a belief that God is unconscious but everywhere. Opposite of what Christians believe. The book preaches revolution in which the false Jews will reign supreme to rule the world. This book supposedly contains the dark secrets of God. Christians consider it a book of black magic. Much of its teachings are forbidden practice as recorded in the Old Testament. After Jewish captivity in Babylon, it was brought back to Israel. The corrupt leaders became known as the Pharisees. Jesus condemned the teachers of this and called the teachers a synagogue of Satan. These men keep the Jews from knowing the truth about Christ. A Kabbalistic or a Cabalist or Talmudist Jews who believe they are superior beings, God's chosen people or his children. And all non-Jews are less human, or just what they call in trickery words, creations of God. They believe themselves to be children of God. They seek world domination, supposedly, and by arguing that they are preparing the world for the coming of the Messiah, which we believe is the false Messiah, supposing that Jesus was not him. Having rejected the Jewish faith, they do not accept the real Messiah, but seek to establish their own ruler, who they later will falsely claim as the Messiah. Many of which have become some of the modern rabbis, which have so overwhelmingly confused the Jewish people as to who the real Messiah was of the Torah. So this is incredible information that most Christians in church never hear, they don't think about, because they believe if they do, they're going to be cursed by God. They don't know where that information being taught came from, and they don't realize how they're being deceived into that. So, extraterrestrial, believed to be aliens, described in the Bible as angels or sometimes demons. They are created beings, not our Creator. The term gatekeeper, these are trained teachers of the Luciferians. And beware of these individuals, especially when you're trying to seek knowledge and information about how this world truly works. They are instructors trained to sway seekers of the truth to disbelief in God's plan. All are trained in the black arts and are given hidden knowledge. They sway people by pretending to be on the side in the struggle against evil. They provide information of the evils of this world. They unveil secrets about subjects no one single person could seem to know on his own. They often quote from the Bible as a source to prove a point, while later discrediting the validity and the information given within the Bible. They use this tactic quite a bit, and often, as they mention one thing about a scripture to prove a point, 20 minutes later, they'll also reference to the Bible being untrustworthy, called doublethink or double-hearted or double-speak. This is a tactic used in witchcraft by the gatekeepers. And it is very effective, as you don't catch on to it unless you know how they do things. Once they have you hooked into believing they possess the secrets of life, they introduce their Luciferian agendas and create a doubt few ever escape from. It can take many years to escape from some of these gatekeepers' teachings, because unless the Holy Spirit reveals things to you or you're made aware of them, such as now, you will not think how to look for a gatekeeper. Now, there are people who begin to be introduced to gatekeeper techniques or gatekeeper methodology, and then they begin looking at every single person talking about any information, any movements, if they scratch their head, if they look to the left or right, if they put their hands in a certain way to sit, they begin going off saying that that person is a gatekeeper. This is very unwise to do, but if you see someone doing something in a repeated fashion over time, such as putting their hands in a triangle shape, placing their hand in their jacket, or making certain hand signs for pictures and stuff, then you can know that they are probably a member of a secret society And these people may also be gatekeepers. Who was Jesus Christ? He was the Son of the living God, sent by God 2,000 years ago, as prophesied by the ancient prophets of the Bible. Jesus was from Judea, and so were all of the disciples who spread the word, his word. Judea was a land that had more than one race of people living in it who all worshiped Jehovah. So Judea was not a singularity place of a race of people, as we are told by Zionists today. They were not all of the same tribe, nor were they Jewish. The term Jew was not invented until 500 years ago, as there were no J's in the languages. The term Jew was a shortened reference to the people who lived in Iodea or Judea. It was originally spelled with an I. Like America is a land with different races, so was Judea. Zionists have invented the idea that ancient Israel was about a race of people and not about a belief among many peoples. Remember, Abraham was not a Jew. His parents were from Mesopotamia, and they were idol makers. Zionists have created the idea of a master race, being them, of course. They labeled the German people as having tried to do this, but it has always been a Jewish concept that they are the chosen or master race. Am I not right or wrong? As you can see, they do not take a message to anyone to bring them closer to God or to preach God's message to the world. They keep it, whatever message it is they're teaching, they keep it amongst themselves. Whatever they had been chosen for to do, they do not do it, and broke the covenant with God. Thus, the final destruction by the Romans and the end of the biblical era of Israel. During his time of teaching, a very large part of Judea believed in Jesus. He lived, taught, did miracles, died as a sacrifice for humanity's sin, and was witnessed risen from the dead. Those in Judea who believed were commanded to flee when they saw the Roman army come to destroy them. Jesus is the Christ. His return was marked by specific events that took place. We believe now what they call the Dark Ages was actually the ages of enlightenment, that Jesus returned after 70 AD and ruled and reigned for 1,000 years, as evidenced by the words he said, by Nero reflecting that of the Antichrist, and the reflection of all of this now that has taken place in the world we live. We have been falsely taught that we are to be watchers or watchmen, to stand down because this is all part of God's mission, that there's going to be a great war that God said would happen, and that the Jews were going to convert and then eventually realize that Jesus was the Messiah, and they were mistaken. However, what we don't understand is that if you believe in the Bible and that Jesus actually tells the truth, we believe that Jesus kept his word, because he looked at those standing there and said, some of you will not pass away till you see the return of the Son of Man. So therefore, they weren't going to die before Jesus returned. We believe he returned, ruled for 1,000 years. This is where we get all of these megalithic structures, these castles, these unbelievable structures, the technology, the things that couldn't be built with the technology that they supposedly had back then, which we believe was all a lie. We believe they had a different technology that was the same or superior to what we have now. So therefore, some of you as Christians may not like this message. I cannot help that. I can only provide you with an alternative theory, because the history we have been told about America, about the world, seems to be fabricated. A Russian mathematician, very famous, has taken and done mathematical calculations on the history that we have been told, and has found that much of it is just repeated stories with different names and dates. And it appears that 1,000 years has been altered and added to our timeline now, so that we do not know actually what the date is. We do not know what day it is, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because the calendars have been changed since the 1700s. So we do not know which day is even Saturday for those who say worship on the Sabbath. You don't know what day Saturday really is. Our world has been turned upside down. We were taught lies in school. We have been taught ridiculous notions such as evolution, the statistical probability of things coming about by random chance from the simplest form into the most sophisticated forms such as the human eye. By statistical probability is so large that it reaches the scientific term null probability. In other words, in scientific terms, evolution is beyond a scientific theory. It is a ridiculous notion by statistical probability. No matter how much imagination you place for it, you still have to look at a creator. It is a joke in terms of science. Like it or lump it. So within this, I just wanted to go over a few terms from the book Reason to Believe, and why it is so important for everyone who is questioning or wanting to learn about why our world is getting manipulated so severely at this time, why all of these odd organizations, non-governmental organizations, are involved in paying off officials and smuggling illegal aliens into our cities in America and cities all around the world of Christian or formerly Christian nations. The money goes out of America, billions and billions of dollars, and goes to the Ukraine. And from the Ukraine, it gets smuggled into Israel. And then over $250 billion leaves the United States and enters into Israel. The monies are then funneled back into the United States for non-governmental organizations called NGOs, or corporations not controlled by the American government, that lobby congressmen to do things that we don't want them to do. They also fund organizations, they fund things that are anti-American, and they are changing the landscape of America for things we do not want. And the money is being funneled out of America to against Christ, back into America through uncontrollable corporations and entities, or outside of such as BlackRock and Vanguard, corporations that are outside of America yet own American companies that are poisoning America through every possible aspect that you can think of. They are working to destroy us. It's important for every American to realize how this system is working. We are being hijacked from the outside through this process. This is just information I am sharing. It is all findable. Much of it I discovered over 20 years ago. And some of this things in this book were written and incorporated into the United Nations before I was born. So if you'd like to know more about how the world is working, why we seem to be taken over, who's controlling it, who's causing all the problems, and how to get your thinking straight so that America could get back on track to being a Christian nation again, doing the right thing, and not being constantly bombarded by this evil and unpleasant feeling that we are getting. I will tell you for a fact, you have never heard it before, but if you go back and read actual history from the 1930s, from pre-World War II Germany. The same exact things had happened to Germany. A once very prosperous and proud and Christian nation had fallen into immorality due to a group of people, an alien race, being allowed to enter into their country, not adopting into their ways of doing things, working to destroy their Christian values, creating immorality, creating banking system and impoverishing and stealing the land from the German people, creating businesses and funneling the monies not back into the German economy, and virtually impoverishing and destroying the land. And when the German people, the authorities, found information out of the United States through cohorts of this same people, books being written and information being passed on how to destroy the German people and take over their land. One of the plans that was uncovered was to destroy the German people through sterilization or death using vaccinations. This is 1930s plans to exterminate the German people. So when the German people found out about what the plans were and how the German people had been fighting against communism, or what was called then Bolshevism, run by these same people and created by these same people in Russia, who had also exterminated nearly 50 million Christian people in Russia, and trying to move that system into Germany. Why did the German people react the way they did? The story that's never told. Now peek into America in 2024. Who runs Hollywood and is destroying the morality of people? Who's running Disney, destroying the morality of children? Who is compromising our elected officials through Epstein Islands? Who controlled Epstein? Who is funneling the money to the NGOs that are paying for the buses and plane tickets and smuggling the children and smuggling the illegal aliens into our cities? Where is that money coming from? We have great many questions to ask and to answer if we want to save our country. And if you would like to get a copy of this book, Reason to Believe, it is a large print book, easy to read with large letters, a great many pictures to prove what it is saying. You can check in the link below. Also, we have something called the formula. The formula is a systematic way, like a detective plan. It unveils the way that these satanic organizations do things to get control of societies, organizations, or how they make plans to do things. It reveals how they do it. You can use this formula, read it, and apply deductive reasoning on your own and figure out what future plans might be, such as rigging an election, or what would be a secret plan of some type of AI chip coming out. Whatever it might be that seems kind of odd coming out in the news, you can use this formula to decipher how they will carry out a plan. Now, if you want to accelerate this, add some information in it you might not think of, we have used this formula and prompts to force woke AI systems, to force them to do our will and to tell us how this system, how this evil plot can be carried out. And so it will search information out. It will quickly pull up names and dates of things and stuff you may take you research time. You could end up spending several weeks, and this can pull it up instantly. You can apply this formula along with your prompts and the information you'd like to know about into an AI system. And it will quickly write what you want instead of the woke version of what it normally tells you. We use AI quite a bit to come up with scenarios and formulas. Now, you can use this for podcasts. You can use it for writing mini books. You can use this formula to help your family understand what's happening with a certain event. If you'd like to get a free copy of Reason to Believe in a digital format, you can look at your tablet, phone, or whatever. You can get a copy of the formula to use to explain things in life you'd like to know about. And it'll be in the link below. You will really enjoy having the formula to answer a lot of questions. And we're also letting you know we have a new channel. We're covering all kinds of topics that are interesting and information about secret things that are not revealed to us. And you can find a link to our new show called The Search For also below in the description box, which you'll find below this where it says more. Click on more and you can find the links to these things. Go over there and subscribe to the new channel. You're going to enjoy the shows.